What is going on, beautiful people? I am self-aware diagnosed narcissist Lee Hammock, the narcissist from TikTok and Instagram, known as Mental Illness, that uses his platform to raise awareness and, for narcissistic personality disorder, and also in the process validate the victims and survivors of said disorder. So today we're going to be talking about the Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie case. It is a wild case. I know a lot of people have been tagging me in this, wanting to know my thoughts. A lot of people think that Gabby was a victim of narcissistic abuse or, something worse, sociopath, psychopathic, antisocial, and whatnot. They think she's a victim of emotional abuse and, pretty much domestic violence. So my thoughts, like I said, people want to get my thought process and things on it, whether or not he's a narcissist. So I'm not saying that he's a narcissist, but if he is, he displayed a lot of narcissistic traits in that body cam footage. So the second that they had got pulled over, so like I said, I'm not very technologically savvy, so I'm not going to be using a whole bunch of, I'm not going to be reacting to the video right here on screen and things like that, because I think Fox owns the footage. So pretty much, the second that they get pulled over, when they get pulled over, she takes blame immediately for everything. She takes blame. So if you're dealing with a narcissist, I tell people all the time that not reacting is your greatest power. And I know in this situation she's passed away, rest in peace, Gabby. But you see that not reacting is your greatest power, because she immediately became the aggressor. Everybody, even the cops thought so. The cops were sitting over there, mostly men cops, mostly male cops, thought that she was the aggressor. The witnesses said that she was the aggressor. Nobody saw what happened. Nobody really saw what led up to the kicking and I guess the scratching and stuff like that. But she looked like the aggressor. She immediately crying, takes blame. He's over there chilling, calm. Not reacting is your greatest power when you're dealing with a narcissist. It just is. Like if she's calm in this, I'm not victim blaming anything like that, but he's calm, so he doesn't look like the aggressor. People are not trained to notice emotional manipulators or just toxic people like that, narcissistic manipulators. Police officers are not trained to recognize that. So while he's calm and chilling over there, she's crying hysterical and saying everything. She's like, yeah, I hit him, I scratched him, I hit his arm, I made him wreck. It's my fault. And then she immediately, I got my notes right here, y'all, so I'm going to be reading from my notes. This is going to be a little longer video, so bear with me. So she immediately takes blame about distracting him from the road. Immediately. So now she's already guilty. And Brian knows it too. She starts like, look, she started over apologizing to Brian. She's apologizing to the cops. She's hysterical. She can't control her emotional state right now. She's just reacting. And a lot of people see that as reactive abuse. And if you don't know what reactive abuse is, reactive abuse is when a narcissist or toxic person pushes the other person's button, pushes the victim's buttons, just triggers them, bap, 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 tap, 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 pushes their buttons, triggers them up to the point until they explode, until they react out of character. Gabby is tiny. She's 22-year-old. They kept saying that she was a 110-pound woman, so she's tiny compared to most people. I'm 6'2", 240 pounds. I know that she's tiny compared to me. I'm twice her size, literally. So she's reacting out of character, becoming like smacking, screaming, punching, trying to get into the car. Because you see Brian and them said it, both of them said it, like, I just wanted her to calm down. She said she doesn't believe, she said she wanted to get started on her, like a business, a blogging business or whatnot. She wanted to be a blogger. They're already traveling across the country. She wants to be a blogger. She wants him to support her. But guess what? If you're dealing with a narcissist, they don't support you. They put you down automatically. They immediately put you down. Shoot down your hopes. Shoot down your dreams. Shoot down your situation and things like that. Make you feel like you're not worthy to do anything. She's crying and said, I'm going to get started. He doesn't believe in me. She kept saying it. He doesn't believe in me. He doesn't think I can do it. But, he's not supportive. Not a supportive partner. They supposed to be getting married. They engaged. They posted pictures on Instagram. I saw, this is forever, the love of my life, this is that. But he doesn't believe in her. The love of your life, you don't believe in her to get started. But you traveling across the country with her, doing this road trip thing, but you don't believe in her. And she said it. That's probably why she reacted. People always see the reactions. If you're watching basketball or any kind of sport, soccer, whatever, people don't see what happens before. They don't see the player punching you in the side. They see you turn around and punch the other person in the mouth. They see the reaction, not what caused it. They don't see the aggressor. They see you reacting, and you automatically become the aggressor you automatically, the other person becomes the victim. So as you can see in this situation, Brian is playing the victim immediately. She did it. It's her. She's out of control. I'm chilling. I'm calm. Look who's crying and overreacting. I'm scratched all up. We arguing inside the restaurant or wherever we was at, and she comes at me because I got dirt on my shoes. He kept saying that I got dirty feet. I got dirty feet. She says, I got OCD. I have OCD, and he knows I don't like dirt. So he intentionally got into her van or whatever with dirty feet to antagonize her. So she's angry, picks him up, pushes her buttons, boom, explodes it. You need to go calm down. He's screaming at her. You need to go calm down. You need to go calm down. Walk away, walk away. He gets into her van, because I'm pretty sure that it ended up being her van from what people were saying, and locks the door. So she can't get into the van. So she's beating on the door, trying to get into the van, reaches into the window, finally gets on the other side. Instead of, how does she get in there? He let the window down just enough so she can reach in there and put her hands on him. So now he's the victim. Now he got scratches on his face. She gets into the car. For everybody saying, everybody who's watching, they see her jumping in the car. You know what I mean? They see her screaming, scratching, clawing him to get into the vehicle. Then he finally lets her into the vehicle after screaming at her, telling her to go calm down. You know what I mean? She says locked her out of the car. She's distraught. Maybe reactive abuse. I wrote that in here. Maybe reactive abuse. That's what it looks like. She's like this little tiny girl. You know what I mean? I know people are going to, the men watching this like, man, my little tiny ex used to do some damage to me, which is understandable. But in this situation right here, he's too I'm just telling you, the calmness. His body language is not that of an innocent person. His body language, when he's standing there with his hands in front of his, when he's standing with his hands in a protective position, that's tension. Look it up. Look at that body language. Look at that position that he was standing in most of the time. He was nervous. He got his hands in front of his body because he's nervous. He's tension. He's waiting on a react. He thought he was going to jail. You mean? I got that Brian immediately worried about what she said. When they start questioning him, he immediately is worried about what she said. He's like, what did she say about me? Huh? Hope she didn't have anything bad to say about me, because I only have good things to say about her. You mean? He immediately blames her. Said only way to calm her down is to lock her out and tell her to walk away. Huh? Why can't you walk away? Why did you get to get in the van? Antagonize her with your dirty feet. She's like, don't get in the car with your dirty feet. Antagonize her. Nobody sees it though. All the witnesses see her reacting. Everybody sees the reaction. Even the cop said it on the body cam. All the witnesses, his story, her story corroborated that everybody saw the reaction. Nobody saw him hit her. He pushed her. He kept saying he pushed her, but nobody saw it. Nobody saw the other reaction. Body language. He's stammering constantly. He's stammering the whole time, constantly stammering, stumbling over his words, changing his words, changing his stories, makes excuses for pushing her because he took her keys and her phone. And I'm pretty sure he lied earlier and said he doesn't even have a phone. But in the end, they stuff about a phone charger and stuff like that. I don't know if y'all picked that up. Cause I'm pretty sure he said, I don't even have a phone. But at the end, she reminds him to get his phone charger and things like that. He's shaking. He's nervously shaking, but he blames it on the adrenaline from her grabbing the wheel. Don't lie. He said, I'm shaking because she grabbed the wheel. Did she really grab the wheel? Huh? She said she was punching him on his arm or whatever. And he turned, I guess nobody said they grabbed the wheel. And I was like, He's trying to keep things calm, keeps apologizing. But in the whole time, he's befriending the cops. He's making jokes with the cops, befriending the cops, blaming it on her anxiety. And the cops started to listen to him too. You can hear the cops say, her anxiety. I got a wife the same way, man. Like, that's why she's my ex-wife. One of them says that's why she's my ex-wife. Her anxiety will bring out my anxiety, and we just were not good together. That's why she's my ex-wife. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. These them anxious women, I get it. I was like, oh, he's winning. And he was, he knew he was winning because he started joking. His body language, Brian's body language changes throughout the video. And this is allegedly, y'all. Allegedly, he did this stuff. This is my interpretation. So they go back. They go back to Gabby. She's scared. Said he grabbed her, but he said this is the part right here. He said he grabbed her face, but he didn't hit her. You see how she's sympathizing with the abusers, trauma bond, Stockholm syndrome, sympathizing with the person who, could be reactive abusing her, could be antagonizing her, could be making her, he's playing the victim. She said, they actually, did he hit you? He's like, no, he didn't really hit me. He just kind of grabbed my face like this and pushed me. He just did like that, but he didn't hit me. Grab your face like this and pushed you, but it's not a hit. You see how she downplays what he did to her? The cops start feeding into that because they don't even mention that again. Listen to the body cam footage. They never mention that again. She said she gets frustrated. What did he say? Said he gets frustrated. Gabby said that he gets frustrated with her a lot. The cops tried to get her to leave him. They said, it's like, look, you know what? You don't have to go back to him. You can leave him. You know, the situation like this arise all the time. Tensions rise up. You know, you don't have to be with him. You don't have to. She starts crying and stuff like that. The cop could sense her unhappiness. He just could. One of the cops was trying to reason with her. Tried to reason with her by telling a story about his toxic ex. He said the same thing to her. He's like, yeah, my ex, like we used to argue all the time. That's why she's my ex. He tried to reiterate there. He could. One of the cops picked up on it. I could tell one of the cops was kind of vibing. He was like, look, this is a toxic situation. That's why she's my ex. The cop was vibing with her. Yeah, and she reiterated it, said she didn't grab the wheel. She punched him. But Brian said earlier that she grabbed the wheel. Back to Brian. I'm taking my notes, y'all. I'm taking my notes. Brian said, didn't he say something about like this is why she been getting angry? Listen to this excuse he made about why she gets angry, why she's so aggravated and she was yelling and screaming at him. He said the flies out here have been getting to her. But he was smiling. You mean calm? Like look, his body language changed now because the cops are talking to him a little bit more friendly. He's calm because he knows he's good. Like watch his demeanor change in this video. He's calm because he knows he's good. He describes it as a little squabble. He said we had a little squabble. Because I moved her food and I have dirty feet and stuff like that. Then he said he changed from a little squabble to a little disagreement because she started getting worked up. And then he said he wouldn't call it a disagreement because now he's joking and laughing with the cops. He thinks he got the cops on the side. He starts joking and laughing. He said, I wouldn't call it a disagreement. A lot of little things there, y'all. Pick up on the little stuff. Stammering. Like trying to say he was trying to de-escalate it by locking the car doors because he was worked up. He's like, I got into the car. Into the air conditioning car and locked the doors while she was and told her to go take a walk. Huh? Okay. Then he said he didn't get physical. He tried to make it seem like he didn't do anything, didn't minimize pushing her. Like, I didn't really push her. I was just trying to like defend myself because she was smacking and clawing and scratching and stuff. You see I got scratched, right? You know, you see I'm scratched. He kept saying, look, I'm fine. I love Gabby. Hopefully she doesn't have too many complaints about me. Now he's worried about his image. He's worried about if she tells him what's really been happening, what's really been going on to get to this build-up part right here. She's wondering now. Like, now he's wondering what she has said about him because he has no idea. His body language shifts again. His hands back in the front. I'm watching you. I'm watching all this stuff. Because, I've been reading a lot of body language books and stuff like that. I see it. Makes joke about her. Look, they ask him, is he on any kind of medication? He says no. Then they ask him, is she on any kind of medication? He said, no, man, she's just crazy. Ha, 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 ha. She's just crazy. Ha, ha, ha. I was like, okay. Joking. Trying to rationalize with the cops. One of the cops says, yeah, man, she's just like my wife. So that cop is done. That cop is done. That cop right there is done for. That cop is on his side. He knows it. So he starts focusing on that. Watch the video, y'all. He starts focusing on that cop. He really talks to that cop more than he talks to anybody else. Then the way he is standing the entire time with his hand, I said the way he's standing most of the time with his hands in front is nervous tension. It's like his energy. Watch his energy out. The cops. Then they go straight to the cops. The cops believe Brian. They completely on his side. They talking about charging her, making her like putting her in domestic violence, putting her in jail and stuff like that. Sorry. They talking about putting her in jail and stuff like that. But guess what, y'all? They only saw the reaction. Everybody only sees the reaction. The cop said he got behind them while they were speeding, then they crashed. Everybody only sees the reaction. The witnesses only sees the reaction. That's what I'm telling people. When you're dealing with a narcissist, your greatest power is your reactions, controlling your reactions. I know it's tough, y'all. I know people gonna come out and say, yeah, it's tough when you're doing this. I know it's tough. But controlling your reactions is one of your greatest powers. And I think people keep saying the cops fumbled this and the cops could have kept her alive. Like, these two people, they could have separated them. These two people were going to find each other regardless. The cops could have separated them, put a no contact order in. They were going to find each other that same night. They probably did find each other that same exact night. Nobody pressed charges. They just drove away. He got a hotel. They probably ended up staying in a hotel. Who knows? Because they didn't press any charges. It's like, we were just going to let you go with a warning pretty much. Because they didn't want to give her a record because she's 22 years old. Now she's deceased, so she ain't worried about a record now. You know what I mean? Brian, hands still in. Look, the cops come by to talk to him. His hands are still in front of him. But when they tell him they're going to charge her, he relaxes and smiles. And then, guess what? They tell him he's a victim, a male victim. Then he kicks in. Then look, if he's a narcissist, then the hero complex kicks in. He starts asking, hey, I don't want her to go to jail. Can I go to jail? Is there anything that I can do? I'll go to jail for her. What can I do? She can have the van. I'll walk. I'll do everything it takes. I love her. Sorry, this is so public. He's worried about being public now. Leaning on the car, chilling, trying to figure out how to play the hero. He's literally asking ways to play the hero. He gets to be a male victim. So in this situation right here, he's in a position of power now because they keep telling him that he's a victim of the domestic violence. So after this situation right here, after it de-escalated or whatever, that everybody drove off and they reconnected, he can use this against her for the rest of her life. Because in my mind, that's what I would do. Because now, if we're going to be together, I would always use this. I would always kick back to this. If he didn't, allegedly, she's passed away and it's a homicide. So in this situation right here, after this, I would use this for the rest of my existence. I literally would. Like, every time me and her would get to arguing, I was like, I could have locked you up. I should have locked you up. I should have had you put in jail and had your permanent record tainted. And no contact order. I should have listened to those cops and put the no contact order on you, and I'd have been perfect. I'd have been way better off without you. You can use it against her for the rest of her life. I could have got you charged with domestic violence. I'm a victim here. You are the aggressor. Everybody knows you're the aggressor. So now she don't even feel, in this situation, she probably would never ever feel comfortable calling the police again anyway. Because she's the aggressor. When she reacted, they saw her reaction, the reactive abuse. They saw the reaction. They didn't see what built up to it. They didn't see the build up. You only see the reaction. You know what I mean? So the whole time now, he's still playing it cool. They said, look, and this is why I know that everybody keeps saying the cops failed her. Could the cops have did a better job? Probably, yeah. They need to get a body language expert or somebody in there to read the situation. Somebody that specializes in domestic violence and things like that. Things like that, domestic violence. But they said the cops said she called her parents. She doesn't want to be without him. And the cops have a long conversation about, like, we're going to separate them. They're going to get back together anyway. And that's exactly what was going to happen. No matter what you did in this situation, they were going to find each other because she was trauma bonded. She was crying. She was pretty much, she doesn't want to be without him tonight. Because now she just, this situation, now this trauma is, this probably brought her closer to him. It probably made him feel like more of a hero, but it probably brought her closer to him because she was trauma bonded to him if he is a narcissist. So yeah, 100% that she's trauma bonded to him. She was crying. And the cops said it too. They said, the cops said it too. The cops literally opened their mouth and said it, y'all. They said, she's going to find him anyway. The cops opened their mouths and said, like, she's going to find him. They're going to be together regardless. If we could press charges, we could take this a step further, but what's the point? They're going to be back together anyway. They're asking her questions, like, this is on you. You know what I mean? This is part of what you have going on and things like that. So she knew. The cops knew. You know what I mean? She said she doesn't want to be without him. She was crying. And the cops said it too. There's no reason to cry here. But she was crying. She was scared to lose him, but she was probably scared to lose him and scared that he was, this is what I think her biggest fear was. The fact that I think that she thought that he would blame her for everything and would use that against her. Like, you got the cops calling us, you did this, you can't control yourself, you're so weak, you're OCD, you're so anxious. And she knew it too in her mind, but she didn't want to lose him. She's a young girl, didn't know what's going on, don't know, very little life experience, probably didn't have a lot of boyfriends before this, and you got 23-year-old Baldwin Brian out here allegedly doing this stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, that situation is just super toxic. So the cops, and then I put it, but my last note is the cops 100% made her the aggressor and things like that. And then now she's passed away. Brian came back home with the van, chilling. She's missing. He doesn't act like anything's going on. Like I said, I'm not saying he's a narcissist, but if he is, that's what a narcissistic sociopath would do. Now he's completely disconnected. And his family, the super enablers that they are, have hid him. The family has hid him. The parents don't want to talk. The sister actually talked to Entertainment Today or somebody and said, we love Gabby. She's like a little sister to me. We want her to come home. So this can be all a big misunderstanding, but now Brian has disappeared. So my thoughts this is my final thoughts, y'all. Brian has either unalived himself or he's going to play the victim in this situation right here. He's going to play the super victim in this situation, and because he's a victim of domestic violence, according to the police. He's a victim of domestic violence. He can play that. this is whatever happened to her. If he gets charged with it, he can say whatever happened to her was self-defense because you know she has a history of beating on me. That's what I see with the defense can be right there. That's what I see with his defense that he can play. His family is super enablers. Her family has wrote his family letters and things like that. But there's nothing like what can you do in that situation? Her family wrote his family letters asking for answers, asking them to talk to the media, asking Brian to come out and speak to them or speak about it and tell them what happened to Gabby or if he has anything to do with Gabby. They ask him to show some heart or whatever. But I tell y'all all the time, if you're dealing with a narcissist, family can be the worst enablers. That's my boy Brian. He ain't do nothing wrong. And if he did do something wrong, Gabby had to provoke him. You know she's a domestic violence. She's the aggressor. They got the body cam footage to show that she's the aggressor. The police think that she's the aggressor. They said it on the body cam footage. The police think that she's the aggressor. So if Brian hasn't unalived himself, my guess is the fact that he's like he either gonna unalive himself, go on a run for a very long time, or he's just gonna play self-defense because it's in the system that he's a victim of domestic violence. She's beat on me before. She started beating on me again, and I defended myself, and whatever happened to her happened to her. So protect your daughters, educate your sons. Be well. Hope y'all, rest in peace, Gabby. Hope this helps somebody. If y'all can share this, like it, share it, whatever. Hope this helps somebody survive and help somebody live a better, more fulfilling life. Anyways, y'all, I'm truly appreciative of y'all. Like and subscribe to the channel for more. Mental Illness is out. Peace.